What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the box office and specifically Kraven the Hunter, which did terrible to no one's surprise. Kraven the Hunter wounded with $11 million box office opening, lowest ever for Sony/Marvel. This is terrible, guys. This is the worst opening ever for Sony, and that's saying a lot considering they had Madam Web and Morbius. But Morbius opened to $39 million. This thing didn't even open to a third of that. I mean, that's insane. Morbius almost opened up 4 times as high as Kraven the Hunter, and Madam Web, which came out earlier this year, which absolutely flopped, bombed, and every other word you could possibly put on it, it did. And so it did 15 million, and that was terrible. That was horrific, and this thing did even less than Madam Web, which is like just insanely bad. Like, it's just unbelievably bad. This is just historically just an awful opening weekend. So what does Sony do? Okay, what does Sony do? After this film came out, they announced that Kraven the Hunter would be the end of their Sony Spider-Man-less universe. Essentially all the Spider-Man spin-offs, right? All the spin-off villains and spin-off characters and all of the, you know, characters that not a lot of people actually care about, right? We care about Spider-Man. We don't care about Kraven. Nobody cares about Kraven. So that's why this bombed. It's not a recognizable name. The movie sucked, by the way. I mean, have you seen the Rotten Tomatoes score? It's really bad. And so, you know, this leaves Sony in a really bad position, right? Because they are losing all kinds of money. They need Spider-Man, right? So that's why they're making Beyond the Spiderverse and the next Spider-Man movie, so they're getting those movies together. But in terms of their hopeful universe, right, with all the Spider-Man spin-offs, that's gone. That's absolutely gone. They've blown their chance with that. Completely blew their chance. So they're ending the Sony Spider-Man universe after this, which is an absolutely great idea. They need to just take a break from this. They need to come back in a few years after they've made all their money back after they make all the money back they've lost from Kraven with Spider-Man. They can come back and take another stab at it, but they need to wait a couple more years so the public can kind of, the public has a pretty short memory, right? So we're not going to really care about Kraven in 3 years. So they can come back with another Kraven movie that's like actually good this time. So heading over to the top 10 this weekend, we can see Moana 2. Let's get some positivity in the box office. Now, Moana 2, 26.4 million, down just 48%, which is excellent for this film. This film is up to $337 million, which is phenomenal. Wicked, just killing it right now. Wicked is on fire. 22.6 million, down just 38%. That film's up to 359 million. I did not think that Wicked would stand a chance and actually have a chance to beat Moana 2 domestically by the end of their runs. Wicked's still ahead of Moana 2 by a pretty healthy margin, and I think it's going to continue to stay that way, possibly for the whole run, which is just insane. Kraven the Hunter, obviously 11 million, boo, right? I mean, look at that per theater average right there in the gray. Per theater average, 3,400. Yeah, that's terrible. I mean, if you look at Moana 2 and Wicked, they're up over 6,000, and Wicked is on weekend number 4, and Moana is on weekend number 3. And Kraven, got half of what Moana 2 got, and it's opening weekend. So that's terrible. For another reason, Kraven the Hunter is terrible. Gladiator 2, $7.6 million, down just 39%. That film's up to $145 million. It continues to do very well, actually. So that's a very impressive number for Gladiator 2. Another film that came out this weekend that you probably didn't know came out this weekend, Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim. It's a Lord of the Rings, I believe, prequel. Correct me if I'm wrong, prequel. That is an animated film. So As you can expect, it didn't do very well either. $4.5 million, just $1,700 on the per theater average, which is really bad. So not in a ton of theaters either. So, you know, when you're in less theaters and you're still not doing well in per theater average, that's concerning. Coming down to number 6, we have Red 1 with $4.2 million, down 39%, which it's doing okay. Obviously, it's not going to be able to make back the massive budget that Amazon spent on this, but it'll have a long life, I think, on Prime Video. They'll be able to stream this thing for years. So they'll make their money back on it eventually, but not in theaters. And the film is up to $92 million on its domestic run. Interstellar, which they brought back for the re-release, has made $3.6 million, down just 21%. This film's killing it. This film's doing so much at the box office. This is insane. Just a re-release, coming out of nowhere, re-released it, and it's just making all this money. So it's doing incredible. Look at $11,000 per theater. $11,000 per theater average. That's a good per theater average. Pushpa The Rule Part 2 made $1.6 million at number 8, down 67%, which is a bad drop, although it did lose quite a few theaters, so there's that. Coming in at number 9, you have The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, which made $1.2 million, down just 14%. This thing is making so much money, just so much money. $36 million on its domestic run. Capping off the top 10, we have Queer, which made under $1 million. It was up 95%. It added lots of theaters. The film is not doing very well at the box office right now. You know, when you go up that many theaters and you only, go up 100%, that's not exactly what you want. Again, as you can see, the per theater average, 1,700. That goes back to Lord of the Rings, War of Rohirrim, and that was a bomb. So this film's not doing well either. So, very mixed bag at the box office this weekend. You had some really good holds, some really good cash at the box office, but you also had the Cravens and the Lord of the Rings, War of Rohirrim at the box office this weekend as well, so that's not very good. But if we check on the domestic yearly box office, comparing from where we were last year, you can see that the deficit has gone down to 5.2%. Last weekend, it was up over 6%, so we've cut the deficit down almost a whole percent since last weekend, which is great. I still do not think that we are going to top 2023, but it's going to be a lot closer than I think a lot of us thought before Wicked and Moana came out. So there's some positive stuff at the box office. There's some. If you look hard enough, you can find the positivity at the box office this weekend. So that's it, guys. Well, that's not it. We got to talk about next weekend. We have Lion King and Sonic 3 coming out at the box office next weekend. So what are those two films going to do? Well, there's a big debate going on about whether or not Sonic can beat Mufasa, because clearly the Lion King has historically been the favorite to win this weekend because it's the Lion King, right? And the first Lion King opened to 191 million, but the projections for Lion King have recently gone down quite a bit, as low as like 55 to 60 million, which I think Sonic can easily beat that. So where do I see these films going? I think Lion King is probably going to make about, I'm going to say like $63 million is kind of where I see Lion King opening to. And I think Sonic opens to about 82 million I see where, I kind of see that happening, because I find it very difficult to believe that Sonic 3 will not open higher than the previous Sonic films. Right now the projections are that Sonic 3 will open lower than the previous two films. I can't even imagine that, because there's so much hype around this film within the fan base of Sonic that I just think it's going to just destroy those projections. So I think those projections are going to be obliterated. I think that Mufasa might beat the projections, but I don't think it's going to crush them as much as Sonic is going to. So that's that. If you guys like this video, make sure you like, subscribe if you're new, and comment down below. Do you think Sonic or Mufasa is going to win at the box office? And which one are you guys going to see? We're going to go see both. We're going to reveal them both. So make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for those two reviews, and I'll see you guys next time.